Okay, so before we start our lesson today, we need to review the lesson that we taught last time. So, who remembers what a noun phrase is? Yes.
It's a group of words with a noun in it.
Yes, and what it includes the noun, but what other words does it include?
The words by the noun.
Yes.
Describing it?
The words describing it, so it's modifiers or it's descriptors. Good. Okay. All right, who remembers what a verb phrase is?
It's like the same thing but with a verb. Like the verb is instead of a noun, it's a verb in the phrase.
Yeah. Okay. That's the basic gist of it. So you have your main verb, and then you have all of the other helping verbs that kind of go along
The
with
modifiers
it.
or descriptors.
That would go along with the verb. Good. All right, so today we're going to continue that lesson on the phrases, and we're going to add two more. We're going to talk about the adverbial phrases and the adjectival phrases. Okay? So, let's see. All right, so an adverb phrase is a group of two or more words operating as an adverb. Okay? You often start off the phrase with an adverb, but it doesn't always have to be the very first word in the phrase. It can also come later. It kind of depends on those. But the important thing to know about these is they will always modify either a verb, an adjective, or another adverb, because an adverb only modifies a verb, adjective, and other adverbs. Okay? So some examples of these would be the Cheshire Cat vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of its tail. Here our phrase is quite slowly. Slowly is your adverb, and quite is also acting as an adverb in this sense, and so it's the adverb phrase. Does anybody have any questions so far? Good? Okay. All right. So I want you to go ahead and write this definition down on your grammar worksheet. The important stuff is the stuff that I've underlined, but make sure that you write it in your own words so that when you come back to this later, you will be able to understand it in a way that you can remember for the test. Does anybody need more time?
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, are we good? Everybody got it down? Okay, let's move on to adjective phrases. So an adjective phrase is very similar. It's going to be a group of two or more words that's operating as an adjective instead of an adverb. And these, usually you will find the adjective at the beginning of the phrase, but again, that's not always necessarily the case. Sometimes there's adjectives at the end of the phrases that are modified by adverbs, and those are all kind of lumped together. They will always modify either nouns or pronouns, because adjectives only modify nouns or pronouns. Okay? And so, here's some examples of them. You have Tony lost his dark brown briefcase. So dark brown is our adjective phrase because you have both of these are acting as adjectives to describe a briefcase. So they would be considered the phrase there. Another example here is the mother of the twins was late for the game. Of the twins is what we call a prepositional phrase. Now, we'll explain exactly what these are next time in our lesson. But just know that prepositional phrases often act as either adjective phrases or adverb phrases. But the trick with these two is that they will not usually have an adjective or an adverb in those phrases, okay? This is one of the very few exceptions where you don't have any adjectives or adverbs in your phrase. You have a phrase, and what happens is this phrase, it describes the mother, okay? Because she is the mother of the twins, this phrase acts as an adjective describing the noun mother. Yes, Addie?
You have an adjectival phrase, like you know how like you have to put in comma somewhere, like with like dark brown. Sometimes when you have two adjectives, you have to put the comma in between them. Can that still be an adjectival phrase?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So go ahead and take a few moments to write down any definition for this. Do you have any more questions? Okay, so go ahead and take a few minutes, write down the definition, maybe an example, and make sure you write it in your own words. All right, does anybody need more time? Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the slide. The next slide is going to have 5 different phrases on it. It's going to be full sentences, but the phrases will be italicized. And what I want you to do is work together to determine what kind of phrases each one entails. Okay? All right, so I'll give you a few minutes, look them over, and discuss it together, and decide from there.
The cost of the car is way too.
What?
Are we doing this in groups or just
What was way too high?
the cost? So it's just
So if it's modifying cost, that would be a noun, so it must be an adjectival phrase.
Yeah, that's good. So Darcy can build a hard pyramid in less than 30 minutes. In less than a minute. So it's describing the build, so it's an adverbial.
Yeah.
Same thing in the corners. It's describing something. So it's
Adjectives.
All right, so what did you guys come up with for number 1?
Adjective.
Adjective phrase. Why? What is this phrase modifying?
The cost.
The cost, which is a
Noun.
noun. And adjectives only modify either nouns or pronouns. Okay, what about the second one? In less than a minute. What is it modifying, Haley?
The building.
Building. And what's building? Or what's build in a sentence?
It's the verb.
It's the verb. So what kind of a phrase?
Adverbial.
Adverb. Good. All right, so what about this third one, Maddie?
Describing something, which is the noun of the sentence, so it's adjective.
Right. Good job. Okay, Tyson. Mike. What about number 4? What kind of a phrase would this be?
As an adjectival phrase,
Why?
because you're modifying the kitten.
Good. Yes, that is right. All right. Can anybody tell me this last one? What's this meant?
Adverbial.
Why? What is it modifying?
Responded.
And what part of speech is responded?
It's the
Verb.
Awesome. All right. So so now is when I would actually have them create a phrase on their own, on their paper, and then we would come back together and discuss it to make sure that they understand the concept well enough to come up with both adjective phrases and adverb phrases on their own.